Hi and welcome to my WebQuest. Mine is about gardening. Students are going to be learning how to plant a garden, everything that will need to go into it. This is the introduction page where it introduces what they're going to be doing and how they're ultimately going to be planting their own garden at the very end of the lesson. The task introduces individual roles they'll be doing, group work they'll be doing in the final presentation, which will be a PowerPoint using Google Drive, and it just gets them familiar with what they're going to be doing. The process is the most detailed portion of the WebQuest. It includes step-by-step instructions for what students should be doing so that at every point of their project they'll know exactly what they should be doing, what they need to do next. If they skipped a step, it outlines everything for them. And at the bottom there's research information. For example, right here in part 1, these are links that they're going to go over as a group. There's videos and resources, so they're going to need access to a computer to view those. Part 2 introduces their individual roles, explaining they need to go to their roles, which is a separate portion of the process. It's a subpage, so they need to take notes on that. And then the last part explains that they're going to be putting together a PowerPoint presentation, and if they're not really familiar with that, there's a video right here I made using screencast, giving tips for making a Google Drive PowerPoint. So like I said, under process there's the different roles. The contractor is going to be making sure there's sunlight. They have other roles as well, or responsibilities as well. At the bottom of each role page there's resources, so these are clickable. They can go online there and take notes, and there's also usually a video, one video or maybe two. The expert grower should know everything about planting the seeds, so they have videos here and a link to a Picasso web album where they'll be looking at the different packages of seeds and writing down the important information for planting them. The pest control is important for making sure that pests don't destroy the plants, so they have their resources here. And under each role I put keep in mind, which I want them to keep in mind what I put there, so when they're taking notes that they'll pay attention to those key components. The shopper's job will be looking into what supplies they need to make the garden, such as shovels, gloves, soil, so they'll be responsible for making a list, viewing videos, and getting an idea for what they need to actually grow the garden. I'll be grading my students on 4 different components. The research portion, I want to make sure that they took notes on all of the links, and I want to make sure they have answered most of the questions that they should have. For example, how they should plant the seeds, the good placement. So each person should have their research should be different, and they should have similar research for the group portion of the project. The participation, I want to make sure that each student was actively participating and contributing to the overall project. Notes, I want to make sure that students have plenty of notes, so they had plenty of information to put together in their final project, which is the presentation. And their presentation should have at least the amount of slides for each section, whichever grade they'll be graded on. So for example, an excellent one would have 6 or more slides, 4 relevant images, and 4 to 5 minutes in length, so they'll know exactly what to look for when they want to for what grade they'd like. My conclusion overall summarizes what they did and what they were able to accomplish after creating the WebQuest, and I also put a Google form here so they can answer some basic questions that they should have learned from doing the research and putting together their presentation, as well as working together with their group. And the teacher page is designed for teachers who are looking at it. There's standards, the time period, and the students will need access to a computer so they can view videos, Google Form, Google Picasso web album, Google Drive for their PowerPoint, and there's also standards and a link where I got some ideas from. When I created this PowerPoint, I really wanted to do something that wasn't just reading or writing or math. I wanted something that they could, what's more real life skills, such as creating something. So I wanted them to have fun creating something, planning something, designing something, that they would overall have a final product. So they would plant the garden at the end. And I just really enjoyed making this WebQuest, and I'll definitely be using them in the future because they're so useful. Thank you.